Did you know that 93% of people believe they've experienced rudeness in a city they've visited? Quite a staggering statistic, isn't it? We're diving into a topic today that might surprise you, might make you laugh, or might even make you think twice about your next travel destination. We're talking about rudeness, folks. Not just any rudeness, but city-specific rudeness. It's a phenomenon that has intrigued researchers, travelers, and curious minds alike. What makes a city rude? Is it the hustle and bustle, the culture, or just a simple misunderstanding? We'll be exploring these questions as we count down the top 10 cities around the globe known for their not-so-friendly inhabitants. From the chilly reception in Russia to the sharp tongues in China and the brusque manners in the United Kingdom, we're going to cover it all. So fasten your seatbelts as we embark on a journey to uncover the top 10 cities with the rudest inhabitants. Starting our countdown at number 10, we have the bustling city of Moscow, Russia. Known for its magnificent architecture and rich history, Moscow is a city that never sleeps. Yet, beneath this vibrant facade, a darker side reveals itself in the form of rudeness. Visitors often report encountering cold shoulders and dismissive attitudes, a stark contrast to the city's atmospheric charm. The rudeness in Moscow manifests in various ways, from the curt, unsmiling service in restaurants and shops to the brusque responses given by locals when asked for directions. It's not uncommon to be met with an icy stare instead of a warm smile. This could be attributed to the city's fast-paced lifestyle or the cultural norm of being direct and straightforward, which may come across as rude to outsiders. And that was number 10. Let's move on to our next city. Moving forward, we have our 9th city, the bustling metropolis of Beijing, China. Known for its history stretching back 3 millennia, Beijing is a city that never sleeps. But with a population of over 21 million, the sheer number of people can easily lead to a lack of personal space and general impatience. Now, let's delve into the rudeness levels. As a visitor, you might encounter some behaviors that seem rude by your standards. For example, pushing and shoving in public places is considered normal here. It's not unusual to be bumped into without so much as an apology. And don't be surprised if you find people spitting in public or cutting in line. It's unfortunately quite common. However, remember that this is often due to cultural differences rather than personal affronts. Beijing is a city of contrasts, where the old and the new coexist, and this extends to its people's attitudes and manners as well. Moving on to our 8th city, we find ourselves in Moscow, Russia. Known for its stunning architecture and rich cultural history, Moscow is a city that promises an unforgettable experience. But, similar to Beijing, the city's rudeness quotient is quite high. In Moscow, you might encounter people who seem cold and unapproachable. Smiling at strangers is not a part of their culture, and this can often be misconstrued as rudeness. Further, customer service in many places leaves a lot to be desired, with staff often appearing indifferent or even unfriendly. However, it's important to remember that this is not a reflection of all Muscovites. Many locals are warm and hospitable once you get to know them. The perceived rudeness is often just a cultural misunderstanding, so don't let these experiences deter you from exploring these fantastic cities. And that wraps up our 9th and 8th cities. Next up we have, moving down our list, at number 7 we find the bustling city of Guangzhou, China. Known for its architectural marvels and vibrant street markets, Guangzhou is also infamous for its rudeness. In this metropolis, the fast-paced life has seemingly left little room for manners. It's not uncommon to see locals pushing their way through crowded areas or speaking rather harshly, even by local standards. Although it's a cultural norm to some extent, it can be quite a shock to unsuspecting tourists. But remember, rudeness is subjective. What may seem rude to one person might be completely normal to another. As a traveler, it's essential to keep an open mind and understand the cultural context. In Guangzhou, locals might not say please and thank you as often as you'd expect, but it's not because they're trying to be rude, it's just a different way of communication here. Swinging over to Europe, our number 6 spot is occupied by the city of Moscow, Russia. Moscow, with its rich history, magnificent architecture, and a complex mix of cultures, also has a reputation for rudeness. The locals are known for their stern demeanor and lack of patience, especially in public transport and service industries. If you're not quick on your feet or decisive in your orders at a cafe, you might find yourself at the receiving end of a Moscow-style rebuke. However, beneath this seemingly cold exterior, Muscovites are known to be warm and hospitable. It's just that their initial interactions can come across as brusque. It's more about being straightforward and no nonsense. So when you visit Moscow, don't take the apparent rudeness to heart. It's just part of the city's unique charm. And that's the scoop on our 7th and 6th cities. Now, on to our top 5. We are now entering our top 5. At number 5, we have the bustling city of Beijing, China. Known for its rich history, Beijing is a city where the old and new coexist. Yet despite its mesmerizing architecture and vibrant culture, Beijing has earned a reputation for its brusque inhabitants. Visitors often share stories of locals who seem to be in a perpetual rush, often coming across as curt or dismissive. This perceived rudeness, however, may be a result of cultural differences and the city's rapid pace. In Beijing, it's not uncommon to see people pushing or shoving in public transportation or crowded places, making no apologies. The concept of personal space is often overlooked, which can be a shock to visitors unaccustomed to such behavior. Yet it's important to note this is not personal, but a reflection of a densely populated city where everyone is hustling to get by. Moving on to number 4, we journey to the heart of Russia, Moscow. The city's grandeur is undeniable, with its iconic Kremlin and Red Square. However, beneath its opulence lies a population that can be perceived as cold and distant. The Muscovites, as locals are known, are often seen as aloof and unapproachable. Visitors have reported feeling unwelcome, with locals rarely offering help or even a smile. However, like Beijing, one must consider the cultural context. Russians value sincerity and may see the constant smiling common in other cultures as insincere. Therefore, their lack of outward friendliness should not be mistaken for rudeness. In fact, once a relationship is established, Russians are known for their loyalty and warm hospitality. It's fascinating to see how cultural differences and city lifestyles can shape our perception of rudeness. What may seem rude to a visitor may be completely normal to a local. So it's always worth keeping an open mind when exploring these global destinations. That concludes our 5th and 4th cities. Now, we're getting into the top 3. Now we're down to our top 3. At number 3, we find the bustling metropolis of Beijing, China. Known for its rich history and stunning architecture, Beijing is also notorious for its brusque manners. Many visitors report instances of pushing, shoving, and an absence of please or thank you in daily interactions. Moving on, the second rudest city on our list is none other than Moscow, Russia. With its harsh winters and often colder citizens, Moscow can be a challenging city for the uninitiated. From curt shopkeepers to brusque taxi drivers, the city is not known for its warm welcomes. Yet, it's worth noting that this behavior might be more about cultural differences than outright rudeness. Despite the reputations these cities have earned, they are still worth a visit. Just remember to pack your patience along with your passport. And that brings us to our top 2. Let's reveal the rudest city of them all. And now, the moment we've been waiting for. The rudest city in the world is, drumroll please, Moscow, Russia. Known for its stunning architecture and rich history, Moscow also holds the dubious distinction of topping our list. Visitors often report a gruffness and impatience from locals that can be quite off-putting. Whether it's a curt waiter at a restaurant, an impatient taxi driver, or a dismissive shopkeeper, the general consensus seems to be that the people of Moscow can be quite brusque. This might be due to the city's fast pace, the harsh climate, or just cultural differences. However, it's worth noting that rudeness is subjective. What may be perceived as rude in one culture might simply be the norm in another. And there you have it, the rudest city in the world. Quite an enlightening journey, wasn't it? So, to quickly recap our journey, we've navigated through 10 cities across the globe, each with its own unique brand of rudeness. Starting from the 10th spot, we had an encounter with the brusque attitudes in Beijing, China. Then we ventured into Moscow, Russia, and Leeds, UK, ranking 9th and 8th respectively. 2 cities where cold shoulders aren't just due to the weather. Next, we explored the 7th and 6th cities, where the locals are not known for their warm welcomes. Moving on, we dove into the 5th and 4th cities, each adding a new layer to our understanding of global rudeness. Our 3rd and 2nd cities further surprised us with their distinctive rudeness. And finally, we reached the pinnacle of our journey, the city that tops the list in rudeness. Remember, wherever you travel, always be kind and respectful. That's our journey for today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.